have found a groove, 2 wins and a draw. If they can keep that going, and coach Bob Liddy's saying every game now is a case of getting 3 points. There's no settling for draws. We are going to win every game that's possible to win.
For the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they have made the playoffs every single season in Bob Lilly's tenure. It's just a matter of, can they keep this current streak going? Again, 2 wins out of their last 3, unbeaten in those 3 against the Sacramento Republic team on the road that is humming along as well. These 2 teams did not meet for a while. 8 years between appearances. Now it's been 3 years in a row, and it should be a dandy tonight. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds against the Sacramento Republic on ESPN2. Both of us. Did you say we're keeping that? We're good? Okay. Yep, gotcha.
Are you keeping that? Oh, I didn't even know we were recording.
When the USL Championship schedule was released back in December, this was one of the games that you circled. 2023 ended with Conrado Forbes and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds taking home the Players' Shield as the top team in the regular season. Now, who did they edge out? Sacramento Republic. Revenge will no doubt be on the mind of Danny Vitiello and company this evening. It's the Indomitable City against the Steel City. It's the USL on ESPN. both of last year's first place teams in the USL Championship. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the East and Sacramento Republic in the West lock horns tonight at Heart Health Park in Sacramento, California. Fans filing into what is consistently one of the best environments in all of USL Championship, and we're happy to have you with us for this one tonight. Alongside Manchester United legend Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Gary, both these teams, again, top of their respective conferences last year. It's been different for Pittsburgh this year, but Sacramento's held up their end of the bargain, and they're up near the top again.
Yeah, a win today, and they could go back into that first place that they held for the entirety of last season. Pittsburgh, different story, though. They're just battling to get into a playoff place at the moment.
And Sacramento right now in a position where they've rebounded over these last couple of games. They had a bit of a dip in form, but they're back on the upswing.
Yeah, here against Oakland, 5 goals. That was Kieran Phillips getting his second, and there's Nick Ross tucking one into the corner. Happy days for Mark Briggs. And then this one, Nick Ross just setting up Trevor Ammon here, and he just tucks in the 5th of the day for a fantastic 5-2 win.
You mentioned the standings right now for Sacramento in a position where they could get back toward the top. They've been in second for a little bit now. They've used it as motivation for them, where Mark Briggs has said, look, there's some adversity here. We're not the first place team like we were all of last season. Now, Gary, I think teams would sign up for adversity to be second place, but as they look to leapfrog New Mexico, they will rely on Trevor Ammon and Kieran Phillips.
Yeah, diversity is relative to where you stand, but there's 2 players who can score goals for them. Trevor Ammon, top goal scorer with 9 goals, and Kieran Phillips, ex-Huddersfield player, comes with a lot of ability. His solo goal against Oakland, one of the best I've seen this season. So 2 fantastic choices up front for Sac Republic.
And the choice is easy on the other side. It's Edward Kizza, who's the leading man for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Yeah, doesn't have as many goals as they would like, but he has a few important ones. One against Lou City there. They lost 3-1 away. That one against North Carolina for a 1-1 draw, digging them out of a bit of a hole. And then he did score against Phoenix Rising. That was a fantastic 3-1 away win.
You mentioned digging out of the hole. They're not all the way there yet. They're getting a lot closer. So if we see that trademark celebration from him again tonight, this is what you have to keep in mind. At the moment, they are 7 points back of that playoff line, and they're only that close, Gary, because of their last 3 games. They've really found a groove.
They have found a groove, 2 wins and a draw. If they can keep that going, and Coach Bob Liddy's saying every game now is a case of getting 3 points. There's no settling for draws. We are going to win every game that's possible to win.
For the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they have made the playoffs every single season in Bob Lilly's tenure. It's just a matter of can they keep this current streak going. Again, 2 wins out of their last 3, unbeaten in those 3 against the Sacramento Republic team on the road that is humming along as well. These 2 teams did not meet for a while. 8 years between appearances. Now it's been 3 years in a row, and it should be a dandy tonight. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds against the Sacramento Republic on ESPN2. USL Summer of Soccer continues after a thrilling match on CBS earlier today between Rhode Island and Detroit City. It's Sacramento and Pittsburgh's turn to get things going on ESPN2 as we take a look at the starting lineups for both, beginning with the home side, Sacramento Republic.
Yeah, just a one change to the side that beat Detroit 1-0 away. Connor Donovan comes in. Lee Desmond not available. Top scorer Trevor Ammon on the bench. No Russell Cicerone against his former side. You'll see it's in a 3-4-3 shape. Phillips will actually be in front of both Ross and Pirano as the spearhead in attack for Sac Republic.
Cicerone coming off that game-winning goal last week. They're being cautious in working him back in to full speed right now. Stings to miss the match against his former team, but I don't think Pittsburgh will be complaining as they trot out an identical 11 to the one from last match.
Yep, no changes at all. Danny Griffinani's second start since injury alongside Robbie Mertz in midfield. Etu and Blackstock, although it shows it as a 3-5, it's more like a 5-3. They'll be deeper in those fullback positions. And the two big guys up front, Emmanuel Johnson and Edward Kizza, they're the ones that will provide the muscle. And from Pittsburgh's point of view, hopefully a few goals.
Goals will be the question in this one throughout. Two teams that have had no trouble defensively all season long. Two teams that have in spurts showcased the attacking abilities, and Edward Kizza leading the way in that charge for Pittsburgh. Kieran Phillips leading the way in that charge for Sacramento. It's one of those games where it's strength on strength. Both coaches in our conversations ahead of this game alluded to the fact that they both play very similar stylistically, very similar ideologically, just a matter of imposing the will and starting strong. Elton Garcia, the referee, he sends us on our way. It's Pittsburgh left to right in the yellow, Sacramento right to left in the white. Underway at Heart Health Park in Sacramento. Happy to have you with us this evening on ESPN2. Alongside Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Pittsburgh, no doubt, hoping for the same start they've had in the last 3 games after they turned things around, Gary, after that 10-match winless run. Each of these 3 matches, the 2 wins and the draw, they scored inside of 12 minutes. The hot starts have been key to their success as of late.
It was an amazing run before the Oakland match. They hadn't scored a goal in 6 games. And they go and beat Oakland 5-0. And since then, they've looked really good. They beat Hartford 3-1 at home. Drew 1-1 against Loudoun in this last match, and they felt that having gone 1-0 up, they should have really put it to bed, and they didn't. But still, 2 wins and a draw. And you can have a look there as it goes. 2 wins and a draw in their last 3. If they have turned the corner, they need more wins, which is what Bob Lilly was saying to us. We need wins, wins, wins. 3 points if we're to climb up in the table and get in a playoff position.
Sent long over the top to Kizza. Glance over at the flag. It stays down for now. Kizza gets past Timmer. Lays it off. Blackstock calling for it. Miscommunication. He had let it go, thinking Osamanu was closer, but no trouble. Osamanu gathers. This has been an Achilles heel for Pittsburgh that Bob Lilly pointed to. Too many self-inflicted wounds, turning the ball over out of possession. In a way, it feels the group has been snake-bitten, that the opposition has capitalized seemingly every time. But that's, again, he admits their own fault. You're only opening the door to that type of punishment if you're making the mistakes. Keep an eye on that as this one goes along, if they're struggling to play through that press of Sacramento.
Well, to be fair to Pittsburgh, they keep losing so many good players. It was Russell Cicerone, Alex Dixon a couple of years ago, Vitiello in goal. And then last season, they start losing others. Jamali Waite moved on, Mark Ibarra moved on, top goal scorer moved on to Rhode Island.
Albert Dikwa was the MVP.
Yeah,
they lost him.
What a player. So if you keep losing your top players, yeah, it does make life a little bit difficult. And the players who come in maybe on of exactly the same quality.
Opportunity now for Mertz after the Sacramento giveaway. Johnson deflected. Junior at 2. Stabilizing presence on the left wing for Pittsburgh. Another giveaway in the midfield, though, by the Riverhounds. Covered quickly. Pittsburgh coming in again with 5 wins, 9 losses, 7 draws. They've got nearly double the amount of losses this season as last year. Uncharacteristic of a Bob Lilley coach team.
Yeah, very much so, but he has begun to turn them around. He's a master at finding good talent.
Johnson has his header knocked away by Donovan.
And you talk about good talent, someone like Emmanuel Johnson comes from Austin too, and you did think, well, is he a good enough player? Suba's come in. He was from Huntsville City. They're all sort of USL 1 or their MLS 2 teams, and yet he finds them and he brings them in to replace all these quality players who move every year for, I assume, better contracts and better conditions. And he still, year after year, produces fantastic teams. Now, this year has been a bit of an anomaly, but would I bet against them not making the playoffs? No, not if Bob Lilley's in charge, I won't.
Our colleague Devin Kerr uncovered the stat this week that in Bob Lilley's career coaching in USL Championship, from the month of August onward, his teams have averaged nearly 2 points per game. So to your point of not betting against him, absolutely can turn it around for a team that's just 7 points back of the playoff line. Timmer. Along for Jack Gurr, instrumental offensively for this Sacramento Republic team, coming up from his right wing back position. Gurr tied for the team lead and chances created. Slipped through now for Villader. Villader cutting it back.
Bob Lilley just having a few words there with Langston Blackstock at the bottom of your screen. Maybe it's a little tactical repositioning of somewhat.
Bob Lilley always up out of the chair, always moving the pieces about the chessboard, which made it interesting, actually, that they went with back-to-back starting 11s this week, Gary. We're always, I think, trying to figure out what the different calculus would be each week for Pittsburgh, whether it's a personnel change, whether it's a shape change. We asked Mark Briggs what it's like to coach against Bob Lilley, because you never quite know what you're going to get in a week-over-week basis, but sticks to the formation, sticks to the personnel. That's helped them find this turnaround.
Yeah, the thing that Mark Briggs said, they've always got quality. He said where they are in that league table isn't really equal to the talent they have on the pitch. He says the one thing that he does all the time, Bob Lilley, he sets his team up well, to your point. He doesn't keep the same lineup necessarily, unless he really wants to, but he'll change the shape, he'll change the position of the players in order to sort of offset and even unbalance the opposition.
Now it's Damien Villader for a throw. Villader was a nice pickup for Sacramento back in 2022. Came up through Barcelona's academy and Girona's youth system as well. Spent a season in Spain's second division before coming over to the United States. Instrumental in Union Omaha's USL League One championship back in 2021. He was the defender of the year on the same back line as his counterpart tonight in Ilal Asumanu, anchoring that Pittsburgh back line. Donovan. Split through from Timmer, looking for Phillips. Three strikers this Sacramento team possesses, and they all bring something different. You got Kieran Phillips as the tip of the spear in there tonight, Trevor Ammon on the bench, and Sebastian Herrera on the bench as well. They're all so different for Mark Briggs, and he can make any decision he wants on a given day. Right now, he's trying to figure out how to get all three of them to their max potential. They're all in different spots right now. Herrera's coming back from injury and not fully ready for starter minutes. Ammon's trying to find his groove again after a dip in form. Phillips, though, is in form, and he's in right now. Phillips to the end line. And Phillips, hesitation from Elton Garcia, ends up giving it for a goal kick in the end.
That's a great choice of strikers. You could add Russell Cicerone to that when he's fully fit. But there's something about Kieran Phillips. He has played at a fairly decent level. We mentioned Huddersfield Town, Walsall, Exeter. Started off at Everton Youth. Every once in a while you see this little bit of extra quality. And again, go back to the goal against Oakland Roots. Took the ball from the halfway line right through the Roots team, stuck it in the corner. That's what he's capable of, Kieran Phillips.
That's another thing that these two teams have in common. They really found their turnaround against the Oakland Roots. It was a 5-2 win for Sacramento and the 5-0 win for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. So hopefully any Oakland Roots fans who are tuning in right now don't change the channel as we put you on blast. But in the last few weeks, these two teams both found their groove against the same opponent.
Yet Oakland Roots are still in a playoff position, so credit to them for bouncing back from those heavy defeats. Something else I'm looking forward to seeing here today with Sac Republic is their home form has been so patchy. Unbeaten away, which is unbelievable. Unbeaten on the road, brilliant. But at home, 3 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses. In fact, they've only lost 3 times all season. Every match they've lost has been at home. It's very, very strange. It normally, almost always is the other way around. You can be unbeaten at home and lose a bunch away from home. So I just want to see how they do today.
Pirano, Luis Felipe, Johnson lunging in, nearly won it back for Pittsburgh. Instead it's Pirano, laid it off, and it's up into the supporters. To your point about the home form, very uncharacteristic of Sacramento, because they've traditionally, the last couple of years, while they've found their time at the top of the table, been incredibly difficult to beat at home, be it in USL Championship play or in US Open Cup play against MLS competition. The last 2 seasons combined, 4 home losses. This season, as you point out, 3. So already more home losses this season than they had the last 2 years combined for Sacramento.
Yeah, and the teams, okay, Tampa Bay, they lost at home. Fair enough, Tampa Bay, a good side. Oakland Roots at home have beaten them 5-2 away. That's a surprise. Lost Las Vegas at home, they lost 2 as well. So just something not quite clicking. But again, to be fair to Sac Republic, they had a great one in the Open Cup, and I often think, and we've seen it over the years, when you do well in the Open Cup as a USL team, your focus just drifts a little bit away. You're excited to play the likes of Seattle Sounders, get to a quarterfinal. Once that's over, and since it's been over, it's been 2 wins and a draw, and I think now you'll see Sac Republic really focus on their league form.
Part of that dip for Sacramento came when they had back-to-back injuries strike the team. Russell Cicerone first, and then Rodrigo Lopez second. Lopez done for the season, their heart and soul. One of the guys who would be in the conversation for the Mount Rushmore of USL Championships history. So that's a gut punch, and then Cicerone to boot. That's where they hit their bit of a downswing. Cicerone working his way back to fitness at the game-winning goal. Last game unavailable today. They've started to find a way in Lopez's absence. Now it's over the top for Blackstock, waiting for it, finds it, but the offside flag comes up. Vitiello caught it and made a nice save just in case anyway.
Yeah, Blackstock looked surprised when the ball came, didn't he? He was behind him, and he turned around and went, what? The ball's coming to me? But he does what a professional should do. You take it, you try and score, and then you wait to see if the flag comes up. But nice little ball through. There he is behind him. He's looking for the ball. Oh, there it is. And Vitiello, a little one-handed catch, almost nonchalantly.
It's normal for Vitiello, given his track record over the last few years. Reigning goalkeeper of the year, reigning Golden Glove. He's a 2-time Golden Glove winner. Only the 2nd goalkeeper to accomplish that feat in USL Championship. And he is very much knocking on the door for another Golden Glove and another goalkeeper of the year this season. He's got the lowest goals against average in USL at .61. He's among the highest in save percentage at 82%. He's got 10 clean sheets. I don't know what more you could ask of the goalkeeper.
Well, I'll just add 2 other things to that. In the last match against Detroit, he made 2 wonderful saves. One from Maxi Rodriguez volley early on, and a later one from Elvis Ammo, who broke through one-on-one. So when your goalkeeper keeps you in the game, keeps that clean sheet, it allowed the opportunity for Russell Cicerone from a lovely Timmer cross to go and score the winner in the 84th minute, because your goalkeepers made the saves early on. That's the value of someone like Danny Vitiello.
I think the only complaint that you have about Danny Vitiello in your terrific goalkeeping career yourself is that he's adventurous. And maybe you weren't per se back in your day, but he was very adventurous, and it makes for some interesting moments in the box. But they're very far from his box right now. Sacramento on the prowl once again, looking through for Phillips. Final intervention by Sean Suber.
Yeah, it's a pressure on Eric Dick to have to follow in the footsteps of Jamali Waite, and in particular Danny Vitiello. Eric Dick just settling into that role as a Pittsburgh #1, and only 6 clean sheets out of 14 games played, so needs to raise that number a little bit if possible.
Goalkeeper for Bob Lilly, though, is one of the most coveted jobs in all of USL Championship. Danny Vidiello used to be, was with Pittsburgh, moved over to Sacramento, and it just seems every year Bob Lilly's goalkeepers turn into something special. Jamali Waite, who you mentioned, was the starter for Jamaica at the Copa America recently. So it's wave after wave of terrific goalkeeper after terrific goalkeeper. Eric Dick in charge now. From the corner, floated toward Timmer, off his back awkwardly. Pirano keeps it alive. Christian Pirano lost it. The Adair floats it in. Everybody was offside. He's been a bit of a journeyman as well, Eric Dick. Began his professional career in the Sporting Kansas City organization. Heavy collision here. Johnson wins it cleanly, though, in the eyes of the referee. Quick turnaround now. Johnson out ahead. Walty keeps it in. Mark Briggs unhappy. No call given, happened right in front of the Sacramento coach, and now the whistle will blow.
It's probably a good thing the goal wasn't scored from that, because there would have been some controversy. Mark Briggs saying, really? That's not a foul? I hope he's going to be okay as far as Elton Garcia is concerned. He says, no, it wasn't. But, you know, when nothing comes of those situations, everybody gets over it fairly quickly. If a goal comes from it, then let's have a look. To be fair, it's a shoulder to shoulder. Just have a look here at how Shane Wheat goes in with his shoulder. He leads with his, tempting Emmanuel Johnson to counter. So I can understand why Elton Garcia's gone, you know, fair enough. You want to lead with your shoulder, you want to bump, then best you take the bump.
USL Championship Twitter, I'm sure somebody will quickly grab a gif of that reaction of Mark Briggs. New meme template for you at home, as we're a quarter of an hour in. Still scoreless between Sacramento and Pittsburgh.
At the end of the day, Elton Garcia says, hey, I make my call the way I see it. I can't please everyone. If I please one side, I don't please the other. So the referee must just call it as he sees it. Conor Donovan, as the captain, just going into a more lengthy discussion about it.
Mark Briggs still having a word with the assistant referee and the fourth official. I'm with you. It seemed both with the shoulders, both going in hard for the challenge, and Elton Garcia let them play through.
I mean, it is a contact sport to some degree, and to be fair, I felt Shane Wheat led with his shoulder. He leaned in with the shoulder, and then the big man, and we mentioned how physical up front they are, especially Emmanuel Johnson. He just comes in and passes. Let's have a look. Watch Shane Wheat on your right now. There, he leans in with the shoulder. If you want to lean in with the shoulder, you've got to take the knock. So for me, I don't see it as a foul, but you know, it's just a matter of opinion. Clearly, Mark Briggs has a different opinion.
Put him in a really awkward spot, too, and the way the roster is constructed tonight for Sacramento, where they're a little bit light at center back, they only have one player available who's a natural center back, and it's Chibi Ukebu. See if they have to make a change here. And it looks like they're going to. A serious one here. Shane Wheat does not look like he's ready to continue. This is a big moment for Chibi Ukebu.
And that's a blow for Shane Wheat, of course, a former Pittsburgh man himself, and he would have been looking forward to this, would have had it in his diary weeks ahead, saying I'm up against a former side. But yeah, it looks like he's taken a real knock there, and that is sad to see. I don't know if it's from the hit or the way he fell.
And there, it looks like they're already getting his arm into a sling. That right arm of his, they're putting it into a sling already. Tough to see for Shane Wheat, as you mentioned, against his former team. One of a couple of Sacramento Republic players who were formerly under Bob Lilly in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be an opportunity now for Chibi Ukebu to make his USL Championship debut. They're also missing at center back tonight Lee Desmond, one of their anchors on the back line. He's nursing a knock and not fit. You never want an injury at any position, but especially tonight. Center back was the last place you could have it happen for Sacramento. And Ukebu made 2 appearances in US Open Cup and acquitted himself well. He's one of 4 Academy graduates on the roster for Sac Republic. After joining the Academy in 2021, he signed his pro deal last November. This is his first professional season at the age of 17. And he comes in now in a big moment. You're going to have to go At least 70 in this one.
Well, credit Mark Briggs for going with the youngster. I love to see that. Have belief in the kids coming through. Give them minutes in tough situations. That's how they learn, just getting the earrings out. Never used to be a problem in my day, just saying.
And Mark Briggs not afraid to play the youngsters if he feels they're ready. Davion Kimbrough on the bench, by the way, made his debut at 13 last year. He's now 14, and he's also available on the bench tonight for Sacramento.
What you're saying, he's a veteran at 14?
Well, I think Ukebu is very much a veteran compared to Kimbrough, at least. So the 17-year-old enters with the other 14-year-old on the bench.
Wow, that is young.
Scenes, though, for Wheat, as he's really laboring as he walks off the field with his arm in a sling.
Well, we wish him a speedy recovery. I don't think Emmanuel Johnson wanted, of course, to do any damage. He was just going in strong and hard, in the referee's opinion, fairly. It might have just been the way that Shane Wheat landed, but either way, to go off early in a match like this, but against your former side, that's tough. But as long as he's back soon, then we wish him well, Shane Wheat. Hope to see him back on the pitch within a week or two.
And with the tactician that Bob Lilly is, although it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out, you're going to want to test Ukebu now. See this, if the 17-year-old could come in and hold his own.
We see what he did there. He bumped Emmanuel Johnson back. He gave him a shoulder as he was going through. So I don't think Chibi Ukebu's scared of any of the opposition. It's quite a big lad for 17.
Ukebu working on Johnson here. Gets a nice applause from the crowd as he wins it. It's out for a throw. Did well to win it in the first place. Listed at 6'2", 160 pounds, Chibi Ukebu. Here's Mertz. And it's Blackstock active early on to the end line, Blackstock, and he wins a corner now for Pittsburgh.
Dami Viadea just doing some defensive work there in the corner. This is good from Pittsburgh. And to be fair to Bob Lilly, he said, you know what, so many games we should have picked up points. If you have a look at, you know, as you said, they've scored some good goals. They've been very, very good defensively. He says there's just been something missing. A lot of it was luck, he said, but they just needed a spark. And you wonder if that 5-0 win of Oakland Roots was the spark they needed.
Looking right into the sun here. As this corner's played in, just over Simanu. Atu tracks it down. Pasker, well done. Junior Atu moving in. Took a deflection out for another corner now.
Good play from Atu there. Gets into the box. He was just waiting to see if anyone was going to trip him up. He got his body between defender and ball, which is a clever thing to do. Wait and see if anyone bumps you. So have a look here. Get into the box. Now, there, he just waits a bit. Nothing. Okay, I'll have a shot. Gets blocked.
Mertz now staring into the sun with the corner on the other side. And Elton Garcia comes in for a quick chat in the meantime. Back to your point about Pittsburgh Riverhounds and being unlucky in a way at times. Part of that conversation, too, that Bob Lilly will be the first to admit, consistency. It's dipped too often this year. Said they've seen spurts where that's the team we want to be, but it just doesn't happen often enough. And it's too often led to dropping points. 7-point hole that they're in right now. But they have to dig back. 12 games remaining in the season. They go short from the corner. Back out to Mertz from a better angle. Curls it in and dealt with by Timmer.
Fantastic header from Timmer.
Again, it's Mertz. Again, he delivers. And again, it's dealt with. This time, Connor Donovan. Timmer out to meet Mertz. Pittsburgh keeping the pressure up. We oftentimes talk about scoring the first goal and the importance that comes with that. Obviously, you want to score first, means you're doing better than the other team, but it's been particularly important for these two, just stylistically. They're much better suited playing from ahead than from behind. They're both undefeated this season when scoring first. Pittsburgh 5-0-2. Sacramento 9-0-4. So an all-important first goal tonight for two teams that really know how to lock down a lead.
it's hard to see Pittsburgh not being in a playoff position when you're at the 4th best defense in the USL. But clearly up front, they've really struggled to get goals.
Good pressure again from Pittsburgh to win it back. Ukebu comes flying through. Blackstock. Langston Blackstock. Again, it's Villader defending it well. I wonder if Villader is unable to go forward as often as he does now, with Ukebu covering him on that left center back spot. We always see Villader flying forward. Does he have to think twice about it now with the 17-year-old making his USL debut behind him?
I think that's a very good point. And maybe the coach, Mark Briggs, has said to him, just hang back, let him settle in, give him 10 minutes or so, and then once you feel he's settled in, then you can start pushing forward more.
Mertz again from the corner, drops it into a good spot. At the top of the 6, but again, Sacramento holds strong. Johnson barreling through, half-hearted volley, Vitiello tracking, and has it.
He's looking for a quick release, but there was nobody on the run, so he'll take his time now, Vitiello.
Tune in to ESPN2 for a USL Summer of Soccer showdown in a top-of-the-table inter-conference clash. Powerhouse Louisville City FC faces off against this Sacramento Republic side. That's next Saturday, August 10th at 8 Eastern on ESPN2.
Just looking at this match so far, you wouldn't think this was 2nd in the West at home to 10th in the East, because Pittsburgh have been on the front foot, I think, a lot more than Sac Republic have, up until now anyway.
Kerr trying to change that. Tua cuts him off. Do you think that's more a case of Sacramento at times dipping in form this year, and maybe tonight so far the same, or more of a case of Pittsburgh being better than their record indicates in 2024? We'll hold that for a moment. Whipped in again by Gert. Blackstock's header away, finds Felipe. It's out for a blast by Portillo.
Yeah, it just might be their home form. The fact is, at home, they've been struggling this season, Sac Republic. And I would have thought for a team 2nd in the West, it would be Eric Dick who'd be doing all the running around and making the saves. And yet it's been Sac Republic who've had to defend. Maybe there's just this mental block about playing at Heart Health Park. Certainly on the road, Sac Republic are a much better side in terms of the results anyway.
Coming west, though, has been a struggle for Pittsburgh this year. A win, 3 losses, and a draw in their road trips to the Western Conference. This is their final westward road trip, though, so that's something that Pittsburgh will be happy about. Don't have to come all the way west the remainder of the season now. A dozen games remaining after tonight. Hard to believe that we're already in August, but before you know it, we'll already be at the end of October on the precipice of the postseason. The summer of soccer. The USL has really set the table for an interesting fall, and we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, problem for Pittsburgh is where they stand at the moment. They are 7 points adrift of a playoff spot. That's a lot of points to make up with, as you say, 12 games left or thereabouts.
Kebu confident with the ball at his feet here. Not looking like a 17-year-old in his USL debut. It's nice to hear that reaction from the crowd. It's a very in tune, educated, intelligent crowd here in Sacramento. They're very well aware that this is his first time out there.
And he could be a star for them for the future. The USL has really had a good run at producing players who've moved up to MLS, and even 1 or 2 have gone abroad to Europe. When you give a kid a chance at 17, especially one with his height, his athleticism, maybe there is a budding star there. And again, credit to Mark Briggs for giving this young man the opportunity.
Center back with nice size. Who's that sound like? Joshua Winder, Kobe Henry, 2 players in the last couple of years from USL. Teenagers who have made that jump to Europe. Let's not put the cart before the horse here. We got a long way to go. This is his debut still. But the pathway is certainly there.
He's a bit of a scrapper as well there, him and Emmanuel Johnson having it out.
ball from both benches, actually, as that ball came up awkwardly. Kebu pings it through. Pirano.
I don't see much of Pirano. He's such a good player on the ball that I would think you want to give it to him, let him wiggle his way out of tight spaces and open things up for Sac Republic. He's been quiet. Nick Ross has been quiet up front there. Maybe they'll grow into this match, Sac Republic. Again, the home form is very strange. So far, Pittsburgh have done a lot better than I thought they would be doing against the Sac Republic side.
Mark Briggs talked about his conversation with Christian Pirano late spring this year. Really honest, direct, sit-down conversation they had as Pirano's on the ball again here. Player who started the year, the first couple of matches as a starter for Sacramento, then was reduced to a cameo player, then left off rosters entirely. You were wondering about his future in Sacramento, to then again being a starter again in the absences of Cicerone and Lopez, where now he's fully entrenched. On the turn now is Ross, and out for a corner. But it was after that heart-to-heart between Pirano and Briggs that things turned around for the number 10 in Sacramento.
It's all part of growing. He's only 24 years of age. You've got to put in the work, you've got to defend, you've got to do certain things the coach wants you to do. And Nick Ross, the coach wants him to do is score, because he has scored a number of goals, turned so well there. Good block coming from Sean Suba.
Just crossed the 10,000 minute milestone last week in USL Championship with Nick Ross. It's Gurr on the corner. Gurr drops it in. It's got to be better service from Jack Gurr there.
It's just too easy for Eric Dick. It's got height on it. It's really close to the keeper. Nobody even tried to win that one. You've got so many good headers of the ball. And Jared Timmer and Connor Donovan, you've got to get better service in there.
Johnson hearing the boos from the crowd now every time he touches the ball after that challenge that injured Shane Wheat. But again, to be fair, you and I both think fair 50-50.
It certainly seemed that way, and I think it was just an awkward fall by Shane Wheat, but there's a good tackle coming in there from Tammy Viadere that the crowd loved. Crunching tackle here, it's sized up. Johnson gets in there, and the crowd are like, that's it, give him some of his own medicine, but I don't think it worries Emmanuel Johnson. He's well built, the 21-year-old. I think he can take the physical nature of the game.
Another one of those gems that Bob Lilly just continually finds. Officially acquired from Hibernian this past offseason in Scotland. And a foul goes against Sacramento here. Could have been in with numbers.
Let's have a look at it again. Hard to see anything, and Elton Garcia was sort of turning around at that moment in time, but again, referees get one glance at it, and they can't see everything. They must call what they call, and I always believe as a player, just get on with it. You can certainly have a quick question, a quick demand for an answer, but other than that, just get on with the game. Referee's made his decision.
Kiza wants it back. Kiza, Mertz settles, drops it back now in front. It's just wide from Danny Griffin, trailing the play. Has 3 goals to his name this season. Narrowly missed the 4th.
That was a lovely setup. Robbie Mertz, such a clever player. Head up there, looking, and finds Danny Griffin coming late into the box. That wasn't far wide. You can see Danny Vitiello scrambling across the goal there. And Johnson puts his hands to his head. He thought that was going in.
Kebu in a tough spot now. Vitiello helps him play out of it. Phillips trying to turn through, taken down.
Kieran Phillips doing well there because he sort of retained the contact with Sean Suba. Got in front of him and almost forced a foul. Clever play there from the ex-Huddersfield man. Bad great touch from Pirano. He's got such a good touch. That's where he shouldn't be giving the ball away. He should be able to hold on to it, bring others in, or turn and have a go at the defense. Everyone's allowed an error here and there, but if he wants to impress his manager, Christian Pirano, he needs to be a lot better on the ball.
Really great start to his career, Christian Pirano, in USL Championship, the Young Player of the Year back in 2019 with San Antonio at the age of 19. That season he was 7 goals, 6 assists. From there, led to a move abroad, time in Portugal, time in Greece on loan, before ultimately making his way back to San Antonio in 2023. From there to Sacramento, and through all those travels, just didn't play a lot, and that was part of the issue when he came in, according to Mark Briggs. It was a player that felt, because of his stature and his history in USL Championship, he was going to slot right in, but not the case. He had to work his way back in, and he struggled to do so. That's what that conversation was about, that Briggs and Pirano had back in the spring. The turnaround moment that was for Pirano.
And he should have learned. You would think going away to Portugal, he was at Pacos de Ferreira. It's not one of the top sides, fair enough, but still they're very professional in Portugal. You'd think he would have come back with a bunch of knowledge and ideas and approach to the game. So hopefully he can put all that together here for Sac Republic this season.
Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. That Select ball in hand now for Langston Blackstock. 10 minutes to go in this first half. Glad to have you with us this evening on ESPN2, part of the USL Summer of Soccer. Alongside Manchester United great Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Both of these teams finished in first in their respective conferences last year. Pittsburgh atop the East, Sacramento atop the West, and it was Pittsburgh winning the Players' Shield as the regular season title winners, edging out Sacramento by 3 points. Viader. Ross, Viader.
Well, to that point, Mark Briggs saying, you know what, there's a chance we can get back to first. That's our aim. But he said our aim is more than that, is to be top of the whole of the USL. And we're way behind Charleston Battery and Blue City, etc. Tampa Bay Rowdies, perhaps, as Bob Lilly having his say. So for Mark Briggs, there's still a long way to go. Top in the West initially, and then top in the whole USL. For Bob Lilly, it's just making the playoffs. That's just got to be his focus. And look at that history. Fantastic. More wins than any other coach in the USL. Mind you, Mark Briggs not far behind, is he?
Not far behind. Mark Briggs in third at 104 wins. Now, it's quite a bit of wins behind, 72 wins. That's a couple of seasons worth of wins. So he's not too far behind in the standings, but he's a little bit far behind in the win totals.
Well, he's got 16 years to catch up to Bob Lilly's age. He's 42, Bob's 58. So I'm sure Mark, if he stays in the USL, will easily pass Bob Lilly's total.
Absolutely. And Bob Lilly, though, don't forget, it goes beyond USL Championship. He's coached in a number of different professional leagues in different countries, and he is U.S. Soccer's active all-time wins leader for head coaches at 398. So he's bordering on that 400 milestone. Again, the active coaching wins leader in U.S. Soccer at the moment. Could this be 399? If they're going to get to 400, you'll see it in the midweek, perhaps, if they go back-to-back here. And in the midweek, we will see them on CBS as the USL Summer of Soccer continues with a rematch of the 2023 USL Championship playoffs. Detroit City FC shocked Players' Shield winners Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and they are looking for revenge. That's this Wednesday night, August 7th at 7 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Blackstock cuts outside. Blackstock matched by Viader, centers it, dealt well. Again, it's Ukebu. The ball seems to find you in moments like this where you are making your debut and you're thrust into action, whether it's deflections, whether it's the opposition intentionally doing so, it always finds you. And every time that it's found Ukebu, it's been a precarious position, and he's dealt with it well.
He has dealt with it well. Sometimes it's also about the ability to read the game. And he might have that natural ability that he can see where the danger areas are. He can see which players he's got to get in front of. He's at an age now at 17 where you've grasped the basics of the game. You know what you have to do, where you have to be. I tell you what, he's actually taller than Emmanuel Johnson when they stand side by side. So he's got the physical attributes, has young Chibi Akebu.
Notice Phillips muscles it off, plays it in behind. It's Jack Gurr with an opportunity. He had it caught between his feet, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Jack Gurr, of all the players here, Mark Briggs is like, really? Because he's such a good player, Jack Gurr. And Phillips gives him a great pass. Good turn here on Sean Suba. Gets the ball behind. Now Jack's got time on his hand. Yeah, it's on his left foot perhaps, but he just there sort of stumbles a bit and then doesn't set a chip in the keeper maybe.
It almost looked like he wanted to get it back to his right foot, his preferred foot, and then he noticed Etu was barreling in and rushed it. And you could still see the body language from Gurr. He's upset with himself.
Yeah, it's such a good chance. To be fair, the best chance of the game. They haven't had many, but that's Phillips' ability. So clever. He just turned Sean Suba there and put a lovely ball through.
There is plenty of spice to this one. Maybe elevated a little bit because of that collision between Johnson and Wheat, regardless of opinion of whether or not it was clean. You see one of your own go down, you're going to have a certain perception of it on the Sacramento side, and it has certainly ratcheted the temperature up a bit.
And I think the crowd play their part as well with all the boos, and they wind up the home players. But again, great commitment. You know, the USL is such a good professional league, and every game I watch, players are giving 100, 110%. It's their profession. It's their chance to make more money by being noticed. And you get to see real commitment from both sides.
Now it's Johnson. Kizzo is streaking in the middle of the area. Walty. And all the turnover that Pittsburgh had year over year, which was immense this offseason, and losing the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, losing the reigning MVP, and so on and so forth. A couple of guys that Bob Lilly pointed to that have really impressed him, and he hopes could be building blocks for years to come. One of them being the aforementioned Jackson Walty, the other being the anchor on the back line tonight in Sean Suber. Both of those guys coming from the ranks of MLS Next Pro, having to make that jump from 3rd division to 2nd division this year, but it suited them well.
But if they do come through, then Pittsburgh are unlikely to hold on to them because they lose their best players every year. So it must be A, incredibly frustrating for Bob Lilly, and B, amazing that he keeps finding these players. Probably got them all on speed dial. He's watching USL 1 all the time now because he knows he's going to have to replace players for next season. Another
one that he mentioned was Bradley Sample, who was suspended tonight, picked up a red card last game. Sample coming from the collegiate ranks at Louisville. Search far and wide, Bob Lilly, and he always finds a way.
Another stat we have for him that we've mentioned a number of times, but in his 225 matches as the head coach of Pittsburgh, they've only allowed 210 goals. That's 0.93 goals per game. So besides all the other accolades, every time he builds a team, and he's had to rebuild a number of teams, they always are good defensively. And that's not luck. That's extremely good coaching and very good tactical acumen as well, I would think.
A little bit elevated this year from that 0.93 you mentioned to 1.05 this season, but that's still good enough for 4th in USL Championship. The best mark is Sacramento, 0.75 goals against average as a team. It's even better for the goalkeeper Danny Vitiello at 0.61. Portillo standing over the free kick. A little bit of an argument as to whether or not Johnson was too close. Curled in by Portillo. Ushered along, but Dick is there.
Well, by the time the free kick was taken, I think Johnson was 3 yards away, not 10 yards away. So then that's what all the frustration was from the Sac Republic point of view. And sometimes the referee can't watch everything. I just wonder if the assistant ref can help there. Get closer to it, let the ref know that Johnson's not the required 10 yards back, and then the referee can intervene.
Slotted through for Kizza. Here's Edward Kizza! Kizza, his first chance is the only one he needs. Pittsburgh leads 1-0.
That's a great strike from Edward Kizza. Put so much power behind that. His former goalkeeping friend Danny Vitiello has no chance of making that save. Bob Lilly watches on, and maybe it's a fair result for Pittsburgh. They have been the better side. They have been on the front foot. They have created more opportunities. Their good run continues, but what a strike. The power that comes from Edward Kizza. The build-up, nice. Robbie Merz, Danny Griffin involved. But when it comes to Edward Kizza, he lets the ball go past his body and absolutely wallops that right inside the post. Vitiello, no chance.
His 5th of the season, that trademark celebration as he shovels through. And we showed you at the top of the broadcast, talked about digging out of this hole that they're in right now in the standings. 7 points back of a playoff spot to begin the night. In the live table, that will creep closer to 4 points now if they can hold on. Bob Lilly, stoic as always. You never know by looking at him. Actually, I take that back. When he's angry, you know. When he's happy, you typically don't know. He's always thinking ahead for the next thing. We've seen this shot on camera many, many times when they score a goal with Bernardo Forbes usually out there, and Forbes is available on the bench tonight. Forbes has always been an extension of Bob Lilly on the field. How many times have they scored a goal and Forbes is over to him to get instruction while the celebration is going on? That's just how Bob Lilly operates.
I think Bob Lilly knows there's a long way to go in this game as well. It might be 1-0 at the moment, but they're going to have to do a lot of hard work. Pittsburgh, if they're to walk away with 3 points from a game against Sac Republic.
We did mention it earlier, how important that first goal would be tonight. The way both of these teams are constructed, they're both very good front runners, neither very good at coming from behind. Coming into the night, these teams are a combined 0-12-2 when conceding first, meaning neither of these teams all season long have come from behind to win. That's what Sacramento's going to have to do tonight. And Pittsburgh, meanwhile, 5-0-2 when scoring first. Can they add to it? Johnson pulling away. 5 minutes of stoppage time tacked on. Johnson trying to get by Ukebu. He's been outstanding since coming on for his USL debut.
He's quick, isn't he, Ukebu? He's got pace on him, and he fancied himself there against Emmanuel Johnson. He squared up alongside and said, see if he can get past me. So he's got the height to head the ball. He's got the pace on the ground. Looking like he could be a really, really good player for the future, Chibi Ukebu.
For the future, and now out of necessity for the present. Again, Shane Wheat went down injured earlier. Missingly Desmond, unavailable tonight due to injury. Vitiello has this corner tracked and wants to go quickly. Pushes it ahead. Ross has to turn back.
I think this home crowd is saying we've seen this sort of picture before. Their last 3 home matches, a 0-0 draw against North Carolina, a loss to Seattle Sounders, a loss to Las Vegas Lights. Just hasn't been a happy period this season at home. So strange, considering how good their away form is.
If they lose this game, it'll be their 4th loss at home this regular season. That matches their combined total from the last 2 seasons, where they were 24-9. Very, very much a head scratcher for Sacramento Republic at Hard Health Park this season. It'd be different, it'd be understandable, Gary, if they were a borderline playoff team, because your losses have to come somewhere. But again, they're in 2nd place and they're unbeaten on the road. That's what makes it even more bewildering.
Some of those results on the road, like the 5-2 win over Oakland Roots, I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. And yet at home, it's not only that they're not winning, they haven't been the better side, in my opinion. It's almost like they're away from home. You know, they've struggled. They've created one very good chance, to be fair. Jack Gurr's chance was fantastic. But other than that, I can't think of anything that's really tested Eric Dick on the one side, and yet Danny Vitiello and Chibi Ukebu and all the defenders have been pretty much earning their wages here today.
Well, Mark Briggs points to that Oakland game you mentioned, and an earlier season matchup with Orange County as their 2 best performances of the season. So far, this is not cracking that top 3.
And that Orange County match was also away from home.
Right.
See, that's where he's good. I think Christian Perano, holding up the ball, wins the free kick, he can turn players. He needs to do more of that.
Driven ball in. Near post, Dick has it. Really haven't found Phillips all too much. His most dangerous involvement was actually when he played Gurin rather than being on the receiving end. You would have liked to have the roles reversed there.
Absolutely you would, but even that one moment was absolute quality from Kieran Phillips. Jack Gurr really should have done better with that, but you're right, if it had been Jack Gurr setting up Kieran Phillips, perhaps they would have got the opening goal, Sac Republic.
Kebu into it with Johnson.
He's strong, isn't he? I mean, he hasn't been pushed off once by Emmanuel Johnson yet.
Now it's Phillips the other way. Phillips cutting, Phillips going for goal, and saved by Dick. That was earmarked for the far post. You saw that glance upward from Phillips. You saw that Dick was a bit out of position.
You can tell it's a good save, because when he hit it, he thought that was in, and when the save came, he's grabbed his head with his hands as if, really? And it's a great stretch, isn't it? And he gets the rebound. And if you could see Kieran Phillips afterwards, he's like, what? I thought it was going in. Brilliant save there from Eric Dick.
I think everybody in this stadium thought that ball was going in. Once it left the foot, struck purely.
I think just to that point about Eric Dick, if you're coming into this game, everyone's saying Danny Vitiello, goalkeeper of the year last year and back in 2020, Pittsburgh love him, they've missed him, all those sort of stories. You're quietly grinding your teeth thinking, okay, well, this is my chance to show them that I can follow in Danny Vitiello's steps, and they can forget about the past and focus on Eric Dick for the present.
And it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. The goal from Kizza, the save from Dick, preserves that 1-0 lead. It's Sacramento who's going to have to figure it out again at home.
Yeah, and they haven't been able to do that last couple of home games, so what can Mark Briggs come up with for the second half? But well done, Pittsburgh, really good. And those stats should make Bob Lilly smile, but it won't.
It'll make him think harder in the locker room, that's for sure. What can he do to preserve this lead now? Pittsburgh really good when it comes to being a front runner and sealing off a lead. Can they close it out on the road against Sacramento Republic? These two teams last year, first place in their respective conferences. Now it's Sacramento chasing again at the top. It's Pittsburgh trying to get to that playoff line, and it's the Riverhounds with the lead. It's the USL on ESPN. It's just a mad dash here at halftime at Hart Health Park. Be careful not to get trampled. And right now it's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds that are trying to trample over Sacramento Republic here and pick up all 3 points on the road. As we welcome you back inside of our booth alongside Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Gary, you and I talked a bit about how we thought this game might go. I don't know if this was the way, with Pittsburgh really controlling things on the road against Sacramento.
Yeah, certainly early on I thought they were fantastic. It's a Pittsburgh side who found some form, but Kieran Phillips, he creates a wonderful opportunity for Jack Gurr, has a shot himself well saved by Eric Dick. So they did come back a little bit towards the end, Sac Republic.
And you know, goals change games, so that moment might come back to haunt Sacramento. We'll see if it does, because from that point on, Pittsburgh is able to get their goal.
Yeah, they were very good from early on. This one just offside here on Blackstock. He's looking for the ball behind him. Vitiello had it anyway. It's a bit of a block from Villader, but it was given offside. But this is a setup. Earlier on, Robbie Mertz causing so many problems there. Gets it to Danny Griffin, who hits it first time. That is just wide. So close there. And again, they were very sharp. But there were 1 or 2 moments. Kieran Phillips provided them this ball through to Jack Gurr. Got to do something with it, and he sort of stuts a step. So I wasn't quite sure whether it's off his right foot or left. Yeah, you can see the frustration. Should have done better with that.
And at that point, you had that sense of looming feeling, if you were Sacramento Republic, that it would hurt you, and it did.
Edward Kieser there with that strike, but he hits it so well. Just bobbles up a little bit, sits up nicely for him, but he powers it to the side of Danny Vitiello, who's got no chance whatsoever. Really good goal there from Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
There was one last opportunity for Kieran Phillips, but a terrific save by Eric Dick.
Yeah, when he hits this, watch the save, and then you keep an eye on 23. He puts his head in his hands. He's thinking, oh, come on, that was going in, surely. But good save there from Eric Dick.
Stats at the break. It's only a shot on target apiece. It's the goal for Pittsburgh. It's that shot for Phillips on the other end. But it's really Sacramento controlling the way possession-wise.
Yeah, and they've had their chances. They should perhaps be level on goals. So the question now is, what do they do second half? How do they turn this around? They need to get Kieran Phillips more into this match, I would think.
Well, the sun is beginning to set here at Hart Health Park in Sacramento. Will it set on Pittsburgh's unbeaten run, or will they keep it going? They're in a good spot right now, and they've been good at this season when leading at the half. Second half between Sacramento and Pittsburgh is on the way. the indomitable city here in Sacramento, but right now it's the Republic struggling against the Riverhounds. Haven't found their footing in this first half. Have to do some battling in half number 2, and it's a difficult one next week for Sacramento. You know they'd like to pick up the points tonight because their test coming up next that you'll see on ESPN2 a week from tonight. It's Lou City hosting Sac Republic.
Yeah, it's a good Lou City side. They've just gone top of the East with a 1-0 away victory at New Mexico, which is great news for Sac Republic, because if they can come back in this match and beat Pittsburgh, they will go top of the table.
And you talked earlier, Gary, about Mark Briggs' goal to be number 1 in the league. You got to beat Louisville to do that because they're the ones right now flying away with the Players' Shield. Now on the other side, Indy 11, part of that rivalry with Lou City. Well, they're in a nice spot of their own here in Open Cup. They're on their way to the semifinal against Sporting Kansas City after their win against Atlanta United. It's another opportunity now for a team to make the Open Cup final from USL Championship.
Yeah, and fantastic job getting there, but they haven't won a game in 4 in the league. And once again, you focus on the US Open Cup, your league form generally suffers. Maybe
good to focus though on that Open Cup now with that final insight in that semifinal. That's where Sacramento was able to get a couple of years ago in 2022 into that Open Cup final where they fell to Orlando. They don't want to fall tonight against Pittsburgh. The Riverhounds are up 1-0. Kick in the second half is coming up after this short break. From California's capital, it's Sacramento Republic trailing 1-0 against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds here in the USL Summer of Soccer. Happy to have you with us for this one on ESPN2 alongside Manchester United great Gary Bailey. I'm Joe Malfa, and we are set to begin half number 2. Pittsburgh Riverhounds leading 1-0. They're perfect this season, 4-0-2, when they lead at the half. Can they get it done again, Gary?
They've got a great chance, but again, against the Sac Republic side, who Kieran Phillips created a great chance there just before the break when he had that shot well saved by Eric Dick, and also managed to put Jack Gurr through. If he can get more ball, if Pirana can get the ball and turn, I think that can cause Pittsburgh all sorts of problems. So it's set up for a great second half.
And we're underway in half number 2. Riverhounds right to left in the yellow, Sacramento left to right in the white. And we have one change to get you out of the gates. Emmanuel Johnson comes off, Keziah Sterling comes on for the Riverhounds. Swap of their strikers here. I don't know if the fans like that, though. Fans were having fun booing Emmanuel Johnson after that collision earlier. Now it's right in for Sterling to substitute, but the flag comes up. Could have made an immediate impact there, if not for the offside flag. That darn offside flag that sometimes gets in the way of a good story.
I think Sterling's a little bit of a more technical player than Johnson. Johnson's a big battering ram. He took a lot of knocks there, but he just wasn't getting much progress. Keziah Sterling has a fantastic background in terms of where he started his football. At Sunderland, he was there, and Spurs. So he has the quality, the technical quality here to impact the game.
Sterling, another one of those guys that Bob Lilly plucked from USL League One, as you talked about earlier, Gary. Just always feels like he must be watching. Whatever game is on, whenever it's on in League One, you can bet that Bob Lilly's got an eye on it. Sterling had 30 goals over the last 2 seasons with South Georgia Tormento as part of their 2022 title-winning team. 25-year-old striker joined Edward Kizza atop the line, and it's Kizza's first half goal. That is the difference right now.
Interesting to see the expected goals at half-time, just 0.2 for both sides. And it's not a lot, given that the last 3 games, Pittsburgh have averaged nearly 2.5, 2 3/4 expected goals. So they've been absolutely fantastic on the front foot. And again, we said beforehand, these are 2 defensively very good sides. They don't give a lot away in terms of chances. Pittsburgh have taken their one small chance, and Sac Republic didn't take theirs. Jack Gurr getting through one-on-one with the keeper. Let's see how the next 45 minutes fares in terms of expected goals and actual goals.
There's a reason that goals change games is one of the oldest cliches in this sport. It was just a couple of minutes before that goal for Pittsburgh that Gurr had that chance. We'll be having a very different conversation now, because again, it goes back to that whole point about Pittsburgh and Sacramento both not really being built to come from behind, being built to play from ahead. If Sacramento gets that first goal, then you're talking about a Pittsburgh team that's 0-9-1 when conceding first. So that first goal was massive. It was Pittsburgh who got it. We'll see what transpires over the next 42 minutes in stoppage time.
Certainly for Mark Briggs, if he needs to bring on some firepower, Trevor Ammon, of course, their top goal scorers on the bench, Sebastian Herrera. He'll be thinking to himself, yep, those fresh legs will definitely come on if we're still struggling.
It's a little bit bare beyond that, though, again, tonight because of the injuries, with Russell Cicerone coming back, scoring the winning goal last week, but not being fit as a precaution here tonight. Brilliant touch by Villader. Cuts inside, has Felipe. Luis Felipe picks up his head, goes for a goal, saved by Dick, and he leaves no rebound. Ross was right there, ready to tap it home just in case.
A good save by the goalkeeper for exactly that reason. If you spill that, and they would have pounced on that ball. Goalkeeper's hands have been really good, Eric Dick. But a nice positive play, good switch of play firstly. But it's this here, cut inside, open up a gap, and then the run from Luis Felipe had lost his marker, so Pittsburgh caught out there for a moment.
Looking long the other way through Sterling, and again it's Ukebu. Reminder for anybody who might have joined us late, early on, Shane Wheat, starting center back for Sacramento, goes down with an injury. In comes 17-year-old Chibi Ukebu, making his USL Championship debut, and he's thrust into action because they're also down Lee Desmond, their other regular starting center back. So Ukebu comes in, and he has more than adequately filled in on the ball here again.
Well, he's the one end of the spectrum when it comes to subs in terms of age. The other end, Conrado Forbes, 36. Expect to see him on at some stage for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And also Babacar Dieng, the Senegalese striker. He's able to cause a few problems in attack for the opposition.
Free kick on the way for the Riverhounds. As you mentioned, we do imagine we'll see Conrado Forbes at some point. The 36-year-old now seemingly lost his starting spot just because of the minutes available in his legs. He's played a lot of minutes with those legs. He's the all-time leader in USL Championship history with 21,978. So depending on when he comes in tonight, he could cross the 22,000-minute threshold. Yassi switches. Sumanu. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, you get live matches from the USL, MLS Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. The goal in that first half, it came in minute 43. It was his 5th of the season, so he's now eclipsed last year's tally at 4 goals last season. Edward Kizza, mostly the understudy last year to Albert Dikwa, who won the Golden Boot, won the MVP. Managed to perform in a larger role this year. 5 goals now and counting, and really finding form now. Chase there again, Kizza. Originally came over in 2022 on loan from New England Revolution. Made 11 MLS appearances with the Revs. Endeared himself well in Pittsburgh when he came on loan. Scored 2 goals in 2 playoff games in 2022. And they brought him back for 2023 and beyond. Timmer over Phillips. Suber knocks it down for Felipe. Gurr centers. Suber clears. Names we haven't called enough tonight, Gary. Portillo, Phillips, Pirano, Ross. Noticing a theme, it's all the creative pieces here for Sacramento, and it's partly why their expected goals right now are .19.
Yeah, but they're not getting the ball as well, so in fairness to them, the ball needs to be played up. There needs to be better balls coming out of defense, out of the midfield. And you're right, Justin Portillo is a midfielder. He needs to turn and get the ball. Luis Felipe, we just seen him in the last 10 minutes. Just get more involved in the game. Created that one good chance 5 minutes ago. So maybe they're getting on the front foot here, Mark Briggs' side.
Sumanu long for Sterling. That seems to be in the itinerary for half number 2 with Sterling on there. Lump the ball toward him and hope for the best and see if you can get that insurance goal. It's a handful of times they've already tried it inside of 10 minutes in the second half.
As we were saying, he brings something slightly different to what Johnson brought first half. He's got more pace, more trickery if you can get the ball to him.
Sterling. Free kick in a good spot now for the Riverhounds.
It's hard to argue that because that's right in front of the assistant referee as well. Yeah, he doesn't think that's, I think it's a bit of a dive, says Connor Donovan. And that's the job of Sterling there, to win free kicks in good places, to hold the ball up. Yeah, there is a connection, to be fair. Not much, but there is enough. So I think it's only fair that it's a free kick.
Riverhounds in the live table, 4 points away from the playoff spot. Although Rhode Island has a game in hand on Pittsburgh, and Detroit City has 2 games in hand on Pittsburgh. The 2 teams that Pittsburgh is trailing by 4 points. Both have games in hand on the Riverhounds. That's why these 3 points are so vital with this lead. If they can secure it, can they get the insurance? Not here, not yet at least. Etu settling, Etu off the back of Donovan. Etu finds it again. Griffin all the way across for Osamanu. And another free kick in a promising area coming for the Riverhounds.
Good trickery rather from Robbie Mertz. So clever with the ball at his feet. Just tempted the tackle. It was a foul, so now it's a dangerous, as you say, in a dangerous position. We've got some big boys there for Pittsburgh. Osamanu, Suba, from Blackstock, Keyser, Sterling, they're all going to get in there.
Robbie Mertz standing over the free kick. Native to Pittsburgh, playing for his home club. Mertz swings it in, Keyser's header, and it's saved by Vitiello at the near post. Corner coming for the Riverhounds.
That was a good header by Edward Keyser at that near post. It seemed like they'd set this up, Robbie Mertz. He aims for Keyser. Keyser's allowed to run free. That's poor defending. I don't know if it was Phillips' man, but Phillips late to react. Goalkeeper makes an important save.
Again from the corner, flicked on by Kizza. Intelligent little flick on from Edward Kizza. Creating all sorts of issues. That Sacramento back line, and Vitiello with a goal already to his name. It should be simple here for Pittsburgh. Just keep feeding Kizza. See what you can do. It's sent that way again. He was gearing up for some sort of volley. Floated again toward the back post and just beyond. Osamanu flicked on by Gurr. Kept alive by Etu, headed away by Timmer. Settled, Biasi, deflected, comes to Osamanu, who takes himself out of it to try and preserve the corner here. Referees looking at each other as to whether or not it should be offside or a corner. If Osamanu was involved enough to give the offside, but they say no. It's a corner for the Riverhounds with the pressure really mounting.
Yeah, good little spell for Riverhounds there, wasn't it? A lot of testing of defenders. In fact, Mark Briggs saying to us, our DNA is working hard and winning individual battles. Well, they're being tested right now, Sac Republic. It's a couple of headers they didn't win, but they have managed to stop most of the attacks in this half.
Short from this corner, Etu. Back out for Mertz. Robbie Mertz floats it in. Griffin making room, Griffin. I can breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, Sacramento.
Just not what they're used to, Sac Republic. When you look at their results, they tend to be creating opportunities and dominating teams. They're sitting second in the West. You would think that they would be getting a lot more out of this game, but maybe we have to credit Pittsburgh Riverhounds and say this team has turned the corner. They're back to their old ways, and they're just making it incredibly difficult for Sac Republic.
Brought it up in the first half. Bob Lilly coached teams and the success that they're able to have from August onward. Colleague Devin Kerr unearthed the stat that they average nearly 2 points per game from this point of the season onward. It's why they've had such a strong closing kick. Another strong showing here in the month of August. Can they keep it going? But there's concern now for Phillips, who took that elbow to the head, and then Osamanu, who came crashing down on his face.
It's hard to see who's at fault. There was a leading elbow, but then there was also a shoulder made for Osamanu to fall awkwardly. So I think, not quite sure who's more to blame, but good to see Phillips getting up. Concern seems to be an Osamanu. He landed very heavily on that shoulder. And we're getting to the time where coaches start to make changes. Just wonder what's going through Mark Briggs' mind there. Whether he feels that just bringing on fresh legs just might change things, just might get a different something going up front. Trevor Aman in particular, with his goal-scoring ability, you've got to feel that throwing him on might just unsettle the Pittsburgh Riverhounds defense.
Remember, he is their leading scorer this season. Trevor Aman with 9 goals and 20 appearances. Beyond the hour mark now. No players off, but right at the halfway line, set to come back on.
Interesting looking at the expected goals as we see this long ball go through for Sac Republic, but last match against Detroit, 1.68 away from home. Against Oakland away, 3.22. And what are we sitting with here, 0.2 or something?
0.22.
0.22. What is it? The expected goals away from home is so big, and at home, nothing.
And it goes to the record. Away from home, they've been outstanding this season. At home, they've struggled 3-3-4. Sterling slots it through. Kiza dummies it through. Blackstock was waiting for it. Biasi skies it for at 2. Good first touch to bring it down. Battling with Gert. Rather Villadare, who switched sides now. Driven across. It's loose in front for Sterling. Still loose now. Lunging in Felipe made the vital stop as Sterling was ready to smash it into an open net. Desperation defending now for Sacramento.
I think that sums it up. It is desperation, and they've got to keep that going in the hope they can limit Pittsburgh and get back in this game, because they're really struggling. Thought for a moment Villadare was going to keep pulling there and give away a penalty, but then it's a good block. Luis Felipe, fantastic tackle. You might look back, if they go on to win this Sac Republic, they'll look back at moments like that as what kept them in the game.
You brought up the point earlier, Gary, about where Sacramento has had the ball. They've had more of it. They've had 62% of the possession. But if you have a look at final third entries, Pittsburgh's at 54 with only 38% of the possession. Sacramento's at 25, less than half with 62% of the possession. It's been a lot of passing around the back and struggling to get through the middle for Sacramento, and a lot of this for Pittsburgh getting right into the attacking third. It's Kiza again, lowering the shoulder, barreling in, physical play in the box. You have to get that perfect if you're Jared Timmer, and he did.
Good defending from Timmer, but to your point, Kiza, Sterling, Johnson first half, they've all been so good at being direct, getting long balls or getting balls into the box, attacking. And that has been the feature of Pittsburgh. And for me, the stats of possession doesn't count. I much prefer entries in the final third, because you can have all the possession in the world, your own half, but you're not a threat. You're only a threat when you enter the final third of the pitch. So if Sac Republic have half the number of final third entries, then they really have struggled in this match. And again, they're playing more like an away side than not the home side.
Split through. Phillips trying to find a way. Phillips, it's denied by Dick. Rebound saved again by Dick. 2 clear-cut chances for Sacramento. Eric Dick playing the hero. Now wants to get the guys back ready for the corner. Sacramento looked like they were going to go quickly, but now it'll settle down.
Here we go, Kieran Phillips again. Such a danger when he gets ball on the edge of the box. He just keeps going until he opens up a gap. Good save, Eric Dick. Pushes it out with pace. And then another good save down to his left from Jack Gurr. And he really is saying to Vitiello, I'm the new man, I'm the king in goals for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. I'm going to erase the memory of the good work you did here. It really is a battle between the keepers in this match.
Perano off the short corner. Ross, Perano. Did not take a touch out for a goal kick. And now the changes come for Sacramento. Christian Pirano, Kieran Phillips both coming off. Sebastian Herrera, Trevor Ammon coming on.
Two very good strikers coming on. But unfortunately losing Kieran Phillips, who I think has been the biggest, possibly the only real threat for the Pittsburgh defenders.
What can Trevor Ammon do now in relief? Team leader with 9 goals this season. Started the season really strong. Then as Phillips rounded in and as Herrera started to get healthy again, things changed a little bit in terms of his role. He's been that super sub though. 3 of his 9 goals this season have come off the bench.
Yeah, just 1 goal in the last 7 for Trevor Ammon. As you say, started the season well, but just lost a little bit of momentum, and this would be a perfect time to score and get his team back in the match.
That theme of the super sub this year has been pervasive for Sacramento. They've had a flair for the late drama, and it's typically come from somebody off the bench. They are the leaders in the Western Conference with 10 goals in the final 15 minutes of matches, and 9 of those 10 goals have come from substitutes. So Mark Briggs has pushed a lot of correct buttons this year for Sacramento. We're not quite into that phase of the game yet, the final 15, but we're inching closer, and you have those 2 guys, Herrera and Ammon, out there as your super subs again. These are rolling around. It prompts a stoppage from Elton Garcia. And Sacramento fans and players alike unhappy about it.
Wonder what happened there. We didn't see anything. It seemed, was this an off-the-ball incident? Just a coming together of players. It's been a little bit chippy this match. Nothing really bad, but there's been a few moments. And oh, there's a card coming out.
Timmer.
So maybe the assistant ref saw something.
Just a housekeeping note. The substitution of Herrera on for Kieran Phillips was a concussion sub. So Sacramento will still have 3 more changes remaining, and Pittsburgh, if they decide to use it, would get an additional sub as well, so they can make up to 6. Just because they can use it though, don't know that they will. They only have 6 outfield players on the bench in this one, Pittsburgh. The 7th player being the goalie. Felipe. Villader cutting to his left foot, looking for Herrera. Taken through the middle. Walty. Well won from Ross, rather from Donovan stepping up from the back line. Ammon gets it back from Herrera. The substitutes connecting. Ammon goes down, and it's simply a throw.
Some good tackles flying in from both sides here. Fair tackles. But they're getting stuck into each other here. Pittsburgh defending, as you know they will do. Such a good defensive side. And the Mark Briggs, as we said, the motto is win your individual battles. So a lot of good stuff going on in midfield here between the players.
Another battle there involving Timmer, who's got to be careful though on his yellow card. Ukebu continues to carry. Chibi Ukebu weaving through. Chibi Ukebu trying to find a moment to take the shot. The 17-year-old in his debut, that would have been something.
Wouldn't it just? Coming up from centre-back to do that, or left centre-back.
Whipped it now to Herrera. More accustomed to being in those positions, but Eric Dick accustomed to making saves like that as well. That is officially his 6th save of the night now.
Fantastic, but a much better ball there from Sac Republic into a danger area. really gives you a chance if you can get up, which Trevor Ammon can. Really work the keeper that much, but nonetheless, at least he's in the right place, right time. That's good news for Sac Republic fans.
Minutes to go here at Heart Health Park. Glad to have had you with us this evening on ESPN2. Alongside Manchester United great Gary Bailey, I'm Joe Malfa. Pittsburgh leads 1-0. Sacramento trying to get it back. It's through for Herrera, and that was one of the moments you look for a striker like that. Nowhere near target in the end.
That's the problem. He's got a hit target. If the keeper makes a save, credit the keeper, but it's a lovely ball. Jack Gurr, good run. Puts the ball into the danger area, gets there first, does Sebastian Herrera. He's got time to hit the target. Doesn't do it. That's a wasted opportunity for Sac Republic.
You could catch the USL Championship on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golasso Network and ESPN+. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. And a reminder again, this Wednesday night, 7 Eastern on CBS-SN. You've got this Pittsburgh side squaring off against Detroit City. And then a week from tonight, again on ESPN2, you've got this Sacramento side squaring off against Louisville City.
Pittsburgh up against Detroit is a bit of a battle for one of those final playoff places in the East. It should be a really good game.
Right now, again, Detroit City, one of the teams leading Pittsburgh by 4 points in the live table. And Detroit City has the 2 games in hand on Pittsburgh. So it's a massive 6-point swing when they meet on Wednesday. Detroit City wins it. They go clear by 7 with 2 games in hand. Pittsburgh wins it. That deficit becomes 1. So it's one of those games that presents a real fork in the road on the season in USL Championship, and it's coming up on Wednesday.
Only problem for Pittsburgh, it's in Detroit, and that is a very, very difficult place to go to. Keyword, very intimidating.
A difficult week of travel to go from Pittsburgh all the way out west here to Sacramento, back east to Detroit, and then back home. On the back end of that, they do have 2 home games, but 2 home games against 2 Western Conference teams that are also begging for results right now in San Antonio and Colorado Springs. So it is a very difficult stretch right now for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
I think it's a difficult time for every single team in the USL because the 2 teams have all gone, the feeder teams for the big clubs have gone. Every team in this, I'd say with the exception of Miami, who've really struggled this year, every other team, including El Paso at times, they're so good. There isn't much to choose. There's times in the West when you can go from 3rd to 8th with 3 points separating them. That's how good the USL is this year.
It's going to be tough for the teams to navigate, but it's going to be fun for us and the fans over these next couple of months, just tracking all the battles going on in the standings.
I've got a funny feeling in the last 2 weekends, there's still going to be a lot undecided in both the East and the West.
There is going to be a lot of scoreboard watching when we get closer. The coaches on the respective sidelines in this one don't do a lot of standings watching right now. Mark Briggs actually asked me in our conversation this week where they were at the table. He wasn't actually sure how many points back they were of New Mexico anymore. Bob Lilly, on the other hand, has been a little bit more in tune with it than he usually is. I remember conversations that we had with him last year while they were flying atop the Eastern Conference, and he was in the same boat as Mark Briggs, where if you asked him to give his best guess at what the table looked like, he didn't really know. Now he's very well aware of how many points back they are of each club. It's the differences between flying high as they were last year as the Shield winners and now trying to dig back to the playoff line. And 2, centers toward Mertz. Ukebu gets it away.
Ukebu hasn't put a foot wrong. He's been really good at the back. Settled in superbly well, the 17-year-old. Just wonder as the season goes on and some of the players in defense for Sac Republic are beginning to sort of age over that 30 mark, whether Mark Briggs might be thinking to himself, you know what, over the next few months, he could become a regular feature in the starting lineup.
for a team that typically deploys 3 center backs in this set, and they only have 4, and one of them right now is unhealthy in Lee Desmond, and Shane Weed also might be on the shelf after the injury he took earlier in this one. So you do the math, you've got only 4 center backs available, typically ahead of Ukebu. One of them is injured right now, another one might be as well. He might be forced to play. And he's drawing the ire of the referee, Elton Garcia, here for that foul. Taken quickly by Pittsburgh, but Garcia brings it back. Is it down now, looking for some treatment. That's why Garcia was not going to allow that quick free kick to be taken.
Crowd do their normal chorus of boos as they think maybe this is time wasting. You do think that Conrado Forbes would make an entry soon just to sort of, oh, as I say that, there we go. You see that happening? I was just thinking, bring him on just to calm things down. He's been in this situation so often. He knows exactly what Bob Lilly wants. Come in, keep possession, get the ball in the opponent's half. All the good things as you try and wind down the clock. And then Dien as well, because he is a sharp player up front. I think he'll add a little bit of pace. Maybe Edward Kiz's day is run if he's lost a little bit of gas.
And it will be Babacar Dien coming on for Edward Kiza, who left his mark on this one. His goal in the 43rd minute is the difference right now. And here it was for Kiza.
Good
2 minutes
strike.
to go in that first half. Nothing that Vidiello could do about it.
Yeah, good strike. I mean, it's a nice ball through, but he lets it pass his body, and he absolutely hammers that. And could very well turn out to be the winning goal. He certainly will hope so, as he goes and rests his legs now.
And Conrado Forbes will come on for Robbie Mertz. Free kick floated in. Etu smashes across, deflected in front. That would have been the most accidental goal Sean Suber has scored. He wouldn't have asked any questions, but Vidiello was there. Coming on with 14 minutes remaining means Conrado Forbes will not get to that 22,000 minute threshold milestone tonight. Coming into the night, the all-time minutes leader in USL Championship. Every time he takes the field now just adds to it. Takes it to new heights. Came in the night at 21,978. So circle the next one on Wednesday on CBS Sports Network for when he could be the first in USL Championship to the 22,000 minute threshold. Forbes, this is also appearance number 284, also the most in USL Championship history. And off now to Gurr, goes from distance, it's saved by Dick, and he secures it strongly. How often, Gary, do you see that parried or some sort of rebound? Just hits his hand, soft as can be, and that's it, move on.
100% agree with you. Jack goes hit that so well, and he's plucked it out the air like it was a pass back. Look at this, he drives that ball, it flies, he goes, thank you, I'll take that. Good goalkeeper. Eric Dick has been so good in this match. If they do go on to win this, of course, Kiza will get all the back slaps and that, but I wouldn't look too far than Eric Dick as man of the match.
Yellow card coming out of the pocket here for Luke Biasi as he stops that promising attack. He won't argue, knows what he did, he'll wear that yellow card with pride.
Yeah, working the clock down, doing all the professional stuff now comes into play for Pittsburgh. Just got to deny Sac Republic the chance to score. You slow down their rhythm. You obviously have a few injury breaks here and there whenever possible, whatever it takes to get you over the finish line if you're Pittsburgh. The Sac Republic, of course, is the opposite. They've got to get a breakthrough. The sooner the better.
Langston Blackstock comes off now for Pittsburgh as well. He's replaced by Pierre Caillet. So that's a wing back off for an additional center back now in Caillet. 11 to go. Pittsburgh trying to lock it down. Floated in from Portillo. Nodded back down toward the penalty spot. Ross trying to turn. Nick Ross taking it wide. Floats it in. Dick tracking it. Fumbles it in front. Ukebu comes crashing in.
It's the first thing that Eric Dick hasn't got 100% right, so we'll let him off on that one.
Villader. His secondary ball in loose in front. Herrera was waiting for it. Suber cleared it out for a corner. This is Sacramento's time to shine. Again, first in the Western Conference this season with 10 goals in the final quarter of an hour. 9 of those 10 by substitutes, which is what Herrera is. And he was almost there for the tap-in. Again, it's Gurr from the corner. Gurr going for post, but way overcooks it. Wasted opportunity.
It was, because they had all the momentum there. The pressure was on Pittsburgh. If they get it into the mixer. Now they're just going to slow it down, Pittsburgh. Do everything they can just to bring this crowd down a notch.
For all the aerial threats that Sacramento possesses, they've really struggled this year on set pieces. Their 27 goals that they've scored, 25 of them have come from the open run of play, only 2 from set pieces.
You're right, it should be more. When you've got the likes of Connor Donovan and Jared Timmer, these are big guys, should be able to do more with set piece ball.
And your strikers in Amin and Phillips, 2 strikers with good height, good aerial presences. And terrific players in terms of service as well. You look up and down the list, the likes of Gurr and Portillo, really good service providers as well.
Good press coming here from Pittsburgh Riverhounds, making it difficult to play out. So forcing the long ball, and then generally Pittsburgh are good at dealing with that. Now they have possession for a moment.
8 to play. Suber gets it to safety. Villader wanted to go quickly. The assist from backup goalkeeper Jared Mazzola, who tossed it right back to him. Over there warming up with the rest of the substitutes. They have 3 subs. They can still make Sacramento if they choose. It's Vidiello's first adventure of the evening, but a well-timed venture outside of his area. That 2 still down. Sacramento pays no mind. They continue playing on. Herrera looking through. And now the play will stop with that 2 down. Look at all the numbers that Sacramento had, and one of the members of the back line down for Pittsburgh. That's another squandered opportunity. They had the numbers, they had the direction, momentum, and it's just a wrong ball in the end.
They've struggled all day, really, haven't they, to get those chances. Kieran Phillips created just that one really good chance first half for Jack Gurr. But there's still time. Mark Briggs' side, as you quite rightly say, have been well known for creating something in these dying moments. I certainly wouldn't write them off. It does seem that Junior Eto'o is struggling here. I just wonder who's on the bench if he has to come off. Whether Bob Lilly has someone he can throw on. Pat Hogan can do a defensive job if needed. Big centre half.
That'll be all for it, too. He didn't want to come off. Pat Hogan replaces.
Yeah, he didn't want to come off, but he was down and in agony, so I guess Bob Lilly thought, you know what, you're struggling, I'll change you, replace you, but he's not happy at all with that decision.
This is going to be an interesting encounter as he walks across Bob Lilly here. See if there's even an acknowledgement. Slap hands, little conversation. That's a good kind of fire that you see from a player. Wants to stay out there, wants to help see the game over the line. You can't blame Bob Lilly for making the change, as you mentioned, down in some pain. Could have been a change he was thinking about anyway. Or again, we talked about Pierre Caillet coming on for Langston Blackstock, more of a stay-at-home center back by trade. Hogan, you could say the same thing, Etu more of a forward-thinking wingback. So it could have just been a planned sub anyway from Bob Lilly to get the extra stay-at-home defensive player out there in Pat Hogan.
Well, they've got literally 5 centre-backs. They started with 3. They've added Kaye and Pat Hogan. They've got 5 centre-backs now. So maybe the route to a victory isn't the big ball in the box. Maybe it's going down the width and trying to get some dangerous crosses, low crosses in.
Five 0-2 when scoring first this season, Pittsburgh. And they turned that 5 to a 6. A win would bring them within 4 points of the playoff line. They could continue to do themselves more favors than on Wednesday when they visit Detroit City, one of the teams they're trailing by 4 points. But they have to get through the remaining 5 minutes in stoppage time here. Viadaer, good service. Well, volley from Gur, blocked in front. Still down is Connor Donovan in the area. Gur has been in and around so many of these opportunities. Been unlucky a couple of times to have it blocked on the way through. A couple of big saves made by Eric Dick on Jack Gur's shots. Donovan, again, the concern.
Has been a physical game. Bodies being put on the line here. Look at this. Both of them clashing heads as they went to win that ball. It really has been a fantastic defensive performance by Pittsburgh, but to be fair to Sac Republic, they've thrown their head at a number of balls as well. So real good battle, honest battle, no nastiness at all. Just a real good set of professional players giving their absolute all.
It's going to take a lot to get Connor Donovan off the field, captain for the Sacramento club right now. It's number 5 on Backhield's USL top 50 player ranking coming into the season. There's Sanchez and Rafa Jauregui will be the next 2 on for Sacramento. Nick Ross who leaves for Sanchez. Jauregui will replace Jack Gur.
Just some fresh legs, fresh ideas, just hoping that maybe they can find a way through that Jack Gur hasn't been able to do, or Nick Ross. Jack Gur will certainly look back on his chance in the first half when he was through one-on-one and feel that he should have done better there. Player of his quality especially.
Seconds coming off the clock now. Pittsburgh taking their time on any restart. Biasi down in the corner. They go back to Sacramento. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball free to play. Download now.
Frustrating for Sac Republic, not just on the verge of losing at home and having this very poor home record, although to be fair, they've got a fantastic away record, but with New Mexico United losing earlier this evening, a win today would have put them top of the table, back where they were for the entirety virtually of last year. Opportunity looks like it's going to be missed unless something crazy happens the last few minutes.
And it doesn't get any easier for Sacramento on the road this coming week, a week from now. Saturday night on ESPN2 on the road against Louisville City, the #1 team in all of USL Championship, though as you put quite rightly, Gary, they've been much better on the road this season, so maybe it is exactly what they're looking for to get back on track.
So 2 games afterwards they've got a problem because they're both at home. El Paso and San Antonio, 2 struggling sides in the West.
Struggling, an understatement right now for El Paso. That's one that's got to be a must-win for Sacramento. Well, we were there to save it after he took his eye off of it initially. Donovan stepping up into some of the space. Very compact now from Pittsburgh as we enter the 90th minute here at Heart Health Park. This lead has held up since the 43rd minute when Edward Kizik gave the Riverhounds the lead.
Connor Donovan just struggling there, trying to run through the pain. Tough man is the captain. But if you ever had to describe a Pittsburgh win under Bob Lilley, this would be it. You work hard, you defend, your goalkeeper's in form, you get one really good chance, you tuck it away, and then you just do the professional things that see you over the line. And they're doing it so well, Pittsburgh. Working hard, closing down, just limiting the opportunities for Sac Republic.
But not out of the woods yet. Tommy Aviadare cutting to his preferred left foot, serves it in. Biasi heads away. Portillo brought him over in June. Helped replace the injured Rodrigo Lopez. Delivers it now, Portillo. Diving header away from Biasi. 5 additional minutes here for Sacramento. Another ball in. They're coming at will now. Full Republic. And this one will be a goal kick.
Frustration for Sebastian Herrera. Just trying to get on the end of that, but he had better chances earlier when he first came on. That chance at the near post that he kicked it over the crossbar. Those are the ones that he should be finishing. The ones that he's getting now, a lot more difficult. And you've got that many centre-backs, 5 centre-backs for Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Difficult to beat them with a header.
Recurring theme from the conversations you and I have had with Mark Briggs all season long has just been a lack of finishing, lack of end product for a team that has a good standing right now in second place and has had success all season long. They don't finish enough chances. They're not ruthless enough. That's his biggest complaint. Can they be ruthless here? It's over the bar from Donovan.
Tell you what, that wasn't far away from Connor Donovan, and he's actually showing the strikers how to put an effort on goals. If it had been a foot lower, it would have been the perfect effort. But you need to get the shots in. Nicely set up by Herrera. Look at this. That literally a foot lower, and that flies in the top corner. Although, to be fair, the way Eric Dick's playing, he probably would have tipped it over.
Found a way. Found a way. Been moments this year where Mark Briggs has felt opportunities to score early in matches could have completely shifted things, and the same could be said tonight. Remember Jack Gurr's breakaway a couple of minutes before the goal scored by Kizza. We're talking about a different game otherwise. Now Keziah Sterling to slam the door shut. Sterling just wide. Would have been able to breathe a bit easier these final 3 minutes.
Wow, that is so close from Sterling. Absolutely brilliant run. The youngster trying to hold him up. Akebu just steps a little bit away. A bit of an experience there. Gives him that extra yard in which to get his shot off. Keziah Sterling nearly tucks it in the far corner.
Luis Felipe lumps it long. A lot of contact there at the edge of the area. Seemed to be a two-handed shove from Ilal Osumanu, but play will continue. Mark Briggs is the unhappiest we've seen him all night. Herrera scoops it through.
I think it was quite an obvious two-handed push just outside the box. It should have been a free kick, but again, referee doesn't always see everything. Players run in front of you as things happen. There's no VAR, of course.
Alder Sanchez. Osumanu, poor clearance, still loose. Halregi, second effort. And it comes through. Dick there with no traffic in front.
Just a moment there where Pittsburgh didn't clear their lines properly. Eric Dick having a little bit of a go at them. There's the push, the hands following through. Just on the edge of the box. I'm not quite sure if it's in the box. Just outside, but is it enough for a penalty as well? If a player gets in your way and you put your hands out, mind you, these days, probably is enough for a penalty.
Vitiello launches. Desperation now. The volley from Donovan off target. They send him up there now basically as an extra target forward when they need something, and he's come up with a couple of chances.
But if ever you want a loose ball like that, you want it to go to Sebastian Herrera or Trevor Ammon. Not to a centre-back, although he did have a good shot a few minutes back. It just cleared the crossbar, but is Keziah Sterling coming off as a substitute?
Danny Rivera will replace him for the final seconds.
Often you see someone come on as a sub and then go off as a sub.
Is there even going to be another chance in this one for Sacramento?
If there isn't, then it's 3 wins and a draw in their last 4, Pittsburgh. They really have turned the corner. I think you can be pretty sure about that. The way they've been playing, the goals they've been scoring, 5 against Oakland, 3 against Hartford. For Bob Lilly, now it's a sprint to try and catch up with those in front and get that playoff spot.
5 minutes have come and gone. Bob Lilly is asking for the whistle. Sacramento plays on for now. Have to hurry, have to get it forward. Villader, Luis Felipe, Portillo. There's the final whistle. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds edged Sacramento for the Players' Shield last year, and they edged them for 3 points tonight. Climbing again toward that playoff line. Never count out a Bob Lilly team.
Yeah, brilliant victory by Pittsburgh. The goal from Kizza, but for me, man of the match, Eric Dick in goals. The #1 there for the Riverhounds has been absolutely fantastic all night long. He's made crucial saves, and he's made sure that the 1 goal they scored was enough to take away the 3 points.
Taking to the highlights of this one tonight as Eric Dick continues to celebrate with his back line. Show you how Pittsburgh was able to make this one count in the win column. There were just so many opportunities early on. It was a matter of time before they struck.
Yeah, ball just gets played in to Kizza here. Lets it go past his body. It just bobbles up a little bit, and he absolutely thumps this ball past Danny Vitiello. Fantastic goal. A couple of chances for Sac Republic first half they didn't take. Jack Gurr had a few, and then this man here, Kieran Phillips, he creates one. Jack Gurr follows it up. Frustration from Sac Republic because Eric Dick was unbeatable on the night.
And at the end, you thought there might be a chance, but still, Pittsburgh holds strong.
Yeah, Jack Gurr here, and just plucks it out of the sky as if it was a pass back from Jack Gurr. Eric Dick, fantastic performance, but all the praise, as it does, goes to the forwards, never to the goalkeepers, Joe.
You could give them all the praise you want. It's Dick who has the clean sheet. It's Kizza who has the game-winning goal. Pittsburgh from here goes to Detroit on Wednesday at 7 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. Sacramento a week from tonight at 9 Eastern right here on ESPN2. We thank you for joining us for this production of the USL Summer of Soccer. And broadcast partner Gary Bailey and the crew that makes this possible. I'm Joe Malpa saying so long for now. The Riverhounds win it on the road 1-0 over Sacramento. Good night, everybody.
Copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.